you want something to grow, it will affect your calendar and it's going to affect your bank account. I'll kind of dive into a little bit of what I've been doing recently. The first thing is social media. So I don't like social media. I've always been kind of against it in terms of I don't like going down the rabbit hole because I am that person. Like if I'm on TikTok, there was at one point I deleted TikTok off my phone because I was just on there for hours watching random stuff. And I was like, okay, well, that's not very productive for my time. So I deleted it. But the thing is, and I said this last week too, I started to look at social media a lot differently when I had a client that I was live on the phone with Google me. And she was very confused. I think it was her and her husband, very confused that I was a real estate agent, but then I was selling them insurance. And I believe I don't think I got the sale because of that reason. I was like, well, if 80-year-olds are Googling me, I need to just make sure my identity like lines up when they search me. So, and I wanted to share like a fun fact with you guys too, but social media right now, whether you like it or don't like it, but if you are in business for yourself, it needs to be consistent with like who you are and who you say that you like, who you claim to be with your career. But social media is the digitization, basically your digital reputation is what I tell people, right? So that is, people are looking at you to trust you, so they're going to Google you. And statistically, this was like a PhD study, and I like to listen to a lot of different podcasts and stuff, but 74% of Americans say they are more likely to trust someone who has an established social media brand, right? And you don't need anything super fancy. So for me, I was like, well, let me just kill two birds with one stone. Let me make sure that if my goal and my objective is to recruit more people, let me just make sure my profile on Instagram says so. So then I started to do that. And then I was like, okay, let me just post, something here and there. And then it wasn't until I came across, I basically just hired somebody and I was like, hey, I don't know anything about social media. I actually hate it. Can you just tell me what to say, what to post? And that's what I did, right? I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't come up with all these content ideas myself. All I did was like hire someone. But for you guys who don't, like, let's say you don't have the money to go hire someone, just Google what to post. Like what I use a lot is ChatGPT, which is free. So I'll say, hey, like ChatGPT, what's a good, like what would capture someone's attention? Because they know all the algorithms. It's AI. AI knows pretty much everything. Hey, I want to post on Instagram. I am an insurance agency owner and I want to recruit more people. What should I post in the first 3 posts? How often should I post? Like that is all free information. For me, I was just like, I'm just going to hire somebody. They're going to tell me what to do. And I put it in my schedule and I pay the person and I just listen to what they have to say because they're the expert in that field. And that has helped me a ton. Right. And I was very hesitant on like, I guess I just didn't like to post that often because I cared so much what people think. And that's most of you guys. You're like, oh, I don't know how my friend's going to think because I keep posting things about work. They're probably going to get annoyed. And then it wasn't until the professional that I'm working with right now, she said, well, if you only want to post once a week, you're only going to attract the people you already follow. But don't you want to attract more people? And I said, yeah, I do. And then she said, well, you have to post more. You have to at least do 3 times minimally. But if you want to grow fast, you have to post every single day. And I was like, man, I have to do it. Like if I challenge myself to grow to that level, I have to commit to doing the thing that I don't want to do. And it wasn't without like her guidance that I just, and I think when you pay, it's like you pay to play or whatever it is, like you're investing in this thing and now you have to do it. And Digna said this on the Monday Builders call, which was really good. If you want something to grow, it will affect your calendar and it's going to affect your bank account. So I knew if I wanted something to grow, like I'm going to have to pay somebody and I'm also going to have to cut it out of my schedule. Because for me, sometimes I can be super hyper focused. Like I just want to sell. I want to buy leads. I want to dial. I don't want to interrupt my IPA hours or like training, but it's not fair for the rest of the world who they're looking for some other opportunity. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I just like pulled the trigger and I was like, let's full send. I'll do whatever you say. And that's kind of all I've been doing. And I think we've been doing social media for, I want to say 45 days to 60 days consistently, where I'm posting 3 times a week on Instagram. And the same thing that I'm posting, the reels, goes onto my TikTok. And then I'm also posting every single, I'm posting a story a day. And so that for you guys, that's all free. Like I don't use a fancy camera. I don't use fancy mics. You have an iPhone, you record content, you edit it a little bit, and Instagram has a bunch of different features. So I would just challenge you, like don't write off and say, oh, Desiree has the money to go buy or like to go pay for this professional service. You could also make it happen by just Googling it. Go on YouTube, watch all that stuff. For me, I was just like, I don't want to do that, so I'll just pay for that person to help me. And that's changed the game like tremendously. And I had to get over the hump of caring what my friends thought. Like, I was like, oh man, if I post this thing, like they're going to start to judge me for like being a workaholic. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like, they're not the ones that are going to affect my bank account. So yeah. And that's kind of what's been the biggest thing for me.
Okay, a couple of things. I followed that similar path, and what I ended up finding was that my friends who never wanted to do it and had these big corporate jobs were just always like, "Hey, could I do that part-time? Could I actually get my license and sell?" And like, it might be every one of my like close guy friends, because all of the girls went and got their real estate license. They were like, they would at some point have gotten a license with me. And now like my cousins are like, "Hey, I don't like
Yeah.
my corporate job and you seem to be happy. Could I get my license too and do this part-time?" Like, a lot of people. And so it's intimidating in the beginning. Just, I mean, you're feeling the same thing. I'm sure you're gonna be like, yeah, couple of my girlfriends have gotten started already now with me because like I actually was consistent about it. And so just that's the act, guys. Two, I want to know what your handle is so we can put it on here and people can follow you. And then three, what are a couple tips? I mean, for everyone that, I mean, what are a couple of first three posts they could make just, that you got from your expert? Like these are paid tips. Desiree hired a pro. She's gonna give you a couple tips like, hey, start with these three things. And then if you're listening on this call still right now, commit to yourself to go do them. So
Right. Yeah, that's the first thing I would say too, because I know you could be overwhelmed and like there's some kind of anxiety with all the information we're giving you. But like if you could take away just like 2 to 3 things that I'm going to tell you right now and practice implementing it tomorrow, it's all on you at this point. Right. So what I would say is if you're going to post a story, and this was really good when she explained this to me, I was like, wow, you just gave me a guideline of what I have to post. And if I don't post it, that's my fault. So if you post 4 stories a day, one should be of like your face, right? If it's, I don't care if it's like a selfie, a video, whatever it is. The second thing is going to be something with your lifestyle, right? I go to the gym a lot. I'll post a quick picture of the gym. I bet some of my gym friends are like, what are you doing? I'm like, nope, this is for my business. I'm going to like post a quick video. So I'm doing that, right? So some kind of lifestyle, maybe you're going out to dinner with your spouse or your family, anything with your lifestyle. The third thing is showing your work ethic. Maybe you're walking into the office, you're hanging out with, your teammates just sold a policy, post something about that shows you are consistently working, because people want to work with people who are consistent. Like that is the trust factor, right? And then the fourth thing is something of value. So it could be a motivational quote. Maybe you're giving them tips on your business or tips about life insurance, like, hey, fun fact, blah, 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 life insurance, this and that, right? And if you have those 4 like core things for your story every single day, and I know it seems like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying or overwhelming. I just gave you like a quick little thing to do that you could do tomorrow. And if you want to grow, you're going to have to do it. Like you're going to have to be uncomfortable to do this thing if you want to grow a massive agency, and start thinking about like your why. Like for me, I was like, man, I just want to make sure if something happens to my family, they're going to be okay. Right. And so that scares me a lot. Right. Like what if
drop that in the chat because that was huge. Your face, when it's your face, is it like just a picture or is it like,
it could
hey,
be a picture? Yeah. You could
like,
talk to it. Yeah.
feeling cute, like thought I'd show, like whatever.
Fun fact. Yeah. A lot of people, and you probably like a lot of people who watch shows or movies, you like specific carriers. And for whatever reason, you trust them. You don't trust the actor, you trust the the character because you see them. That's the same thing. If you start posting videos and some people might think they're annoying, they're not meant to be in your business. The people who are going to be attracted to you are going to like that you're a real person and you're giving them value. It could be of anything. So you could do a video. I think videos are that's why reels are like a top-notch thing right now. It's because they could see you talking and they see your face, they see your smile and that you're a real person, and they could read your body language, right? They want someone with like, up energy, and maybe someone like somebody else that's a little bit monotone. You will attract those people just by posting videos rather than pictures, but both work.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So face, lifestyle, work ethic, and then something of value. So quotes.
Oh,
yeah.
Huge. I never heard that broken down. And what's funny is I watch people's stories all day long because I'm a consumer, not all day long. China's laughing at me like I'm some peeping Tom over here. Like, but I've seen that. Like I've seen that path, and I was always just like, that's nice. And then, oh, they're doing this, and oh yeah, they work hard, and then oh, this is a nice quote. And now I'm like, my brain is exploding because I've like seen these are like big influencers that you're like, they're copying you. That
Right.
they're copying the Des. So guys, this is why you show up. This is to learn this stuff that people aren't sharing on other calls. So all right, keep
For
going. This is
free. Yeah,
amazing.
for free. You could do all of that. You don't need a fancy camera, so don't try and limit yourself. So, and then right now, what we're doing, we're posting reels a week, and it's based on, again, she kind of came up with this content creation. She was like, let's do something educational. So I think 2 out of the 3 we post are more so educational to attract people who are interested in being a life insurance agent. That's what we're doing right now. And then the third thing is something like funny. We posted like a blooper video, and it was something, I guess, more lifestyle oriented. We did like a day in a life, but 2 are educational. And the third one is like, I wouldn't say random, but more towards lifestyle. And right now I'm thinking, and I'll probably consult with her, but I want to increase it to like 4 times a week because I want to grow faster. At first I was like, let's just do 3. Let's just see what happens. And then like, we kind of exploded and now it dipped. So we go back to the drawing board. And again, I'm not the one, like, I was just like, I'll do whatever you say. I'm so coachable that I'm like, I don't have any like mental energy to learn all about social media algorithms. Like I'll let you handle that and I'll take whatever advice you give me. So that's kind of where we're at. And it's been huge.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So now anything else on finding prospects? What is your kind of next process on getting them in, having a conversation? Do you run them to a landing page? Do you make them watch a video? Do you have them listen to a recorded call? Like what's that sort of process of once you get interest to get them then into class?
So right now I'm not even doing outbound messages. I only respond to people who say interested course. We'll do like a call to action. I was talking about the Excel course and I was like, DM me course if you want to know like what's available in your state. And then people were like course. And then I would send the message. So I wasn't even, and I know we could probably grow a lot faster if I do outbound messaging. So we haven't even dabbled in that yet. But right now, whenever someone like says course or interested in being an agent, I'll respond to them and I'll send them to my like agency overview video. It's a one that Marissa had recorded. It's like 13 minutes. I tell them, hey, watch the video. And then my Calendly is linked to that. And I say, schedule a call of me. So I give them some sort of action to take, watch the video, and then schedule a call with me. And if I get on the phone with somebody and they did not watch the video, I'd just say, hey, like go watch the video. I have, a bunch of other people to talk to, then reschedule with me if anything, but I don't go chasing after them. So the first test is like, I feel like I'm constantly testing people. And if they don't do it, and this is a key thing too, because I used to be like, hey, Grady, did you watch the video? And then they'll be like, yeah. And then I move on. So I've like had a lot of trial and error, but I'll say, hey, Grady, did you see that video? Did you end up watching it? Yeah, I ended up watching it. Awesome. What was the most appealing part to you? And then you can tell in their response if they've watched it. If they're like, well, I liked that it was about insurance. And I was like, okay, cool. Can you elaborate on that? And I'm asking more questions to see if they actually watched the video. And then if they didn't, I'll just say, hey, why don't you go rewatch the video, jot down some questions, go back to the scheduling link, and then we'll see if we could have a second time. Right. And then so I'll do that. They watch the video and then I'll ask that question. And then if I could tell they watched the video, I'll write down what their favorite parts are. And then during my interview, what I like to ask, I'll say, hey, Grady, really to this interview, there's 2 parts. The first half, I'm going to get to know you and your goals and like why you're looking into the insurance industry. And the second part is I'm going to go over the logistics of the business to see if we would be a great partnership. And that's normally my conversation. I try to make the interview like as short as can be, but sometimes I'm really hitting it off with somebody. And so it'll be like 30 minutes, a little less than 30 minutes, sometimes a little bit more. But what I've noticed is the quality of the interviewee being organic through social media is a lot higher than me spending money on ads. I used to spend a lot of money on like Indeed. What is the other one? ZipRecruiter. I would spend a lot of money there. And then also like social media ads. Like I think I spent like, I don't know, $500 and I was like, would get some people scheduling and then they would no-show me. They wouldn't watch the video. They were like a lot older, like in their 80s. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? But I think what really helps is that I'm posting these reels. So it's attracting people who want to work with me. My face is there, I'm talking. And I think that's why the quality has gone up so much through the organic interactions. And then that's kind of what I do. I get to know them a little bit. And then the second half is I go over the logistics. And then I basically, for the logistic parts, or just for you guys to know, I make sure they understand that this is commission-based and you're self-employed. Like, are you fine with that? You're not going to get paid until you sell a policy. They're like, yeah, I'm fine with that. Cool. And then I say, hey, training's free, but you're still independent. Like I'm going to guide you through everything, but you're still independent. You're still like running the show. And I like to use this analogy. I'll say, hey, Grady, you're in the driver's seat, right? You could turn on the ignition, you could turn on the gas, hit the gas pedal, pump the brakes. And I'm just the GPS. Like, that's all I am. So you're in charge of driving wherever you need to go. If I say go straight and you go right and you get lost, that's your fault, right? So you still have some autonomy. I'm just here to guide you. I have the blueprint. Is that fine with you? Yes. Perfect. Okay. And then I just make sure they understand the compensation. I say, hey, there's a bunch of other IMOs out there that do not, they're not very transparent with their compensation. You're going to start at 80%. You could go all the way up to 145% based on your performance and your work ethic. It has nothing to do if I like you, don't like you. If you could outwork me, you could outcomp me, right? And so, and I basically tell them I'm looking for business owners, whether you're going to be part-time or full-time, you're going to be running this like a business. I don't want this to be a side hobby. Like, this is something like you understand you're opening up a business. And then when you open up a business, you have to understand that you have to invest in your business. Do you remember watching the video where they talked about this as a lead-based business? So every week, our agents understand how important it is to replenish or to restock their inventory every single week. Is that going to be an issue for you? No, it's not. Or they might have questions or hesitations there. And sometimes I'll just end the call if they're like, I don't want to spend money on leads. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to work with you. Like, and then so that's pretty much understanding they're a business owner and it's a lead-based business. I'll give them like a rule of thumb. If you're part-time, have about $500 ready to invest in leads. And then if you're full-time, have about 800 to 1,000, right? And then so, and then I'll ask them their training, like their schedule for training, whether they're part-time or full-time. And then I explain chargebacks, and I want to make sure they are okay with that. Hey, are you okay with that? That's loss prevention in any type of business. And I give them the example. I'll say, Greedy, Amazon every single day gets returns. I literally just returned 5 things from Amazon last week after I tried it on, and then I got all my money back, but they're still the largest company, one of the largest companies in the world, because they're selling things every single day. We only want to work with consistent people. I don't want to hire you. You sell insurance 1 month, disappear for 5, and then you come back. That would be bad business. You have to run it like a business. Is that fine with you? Yes. And I'm just constantly getting them to agree. And if there's hesitation, then it's we just kind of end the call from there. And then and then I make sure they understand that we get rejected every single day. So I'll say, Grady, because this is a lead-based business, if I give you 100 leads today, or sorry, you purchase 100 leads, right? You call them. When you call 100 leads, 50 of them are not going to answer, right? The other 50, they're going to answer. 25 are going to tell you to screw off, go to hell, I'm going to sue you, all this other stuff. And then the other 25, you're able to book 10 appointments for the next day. Okay. Then you call those appointments that you scheduled for the next day. And guess what? 5 of them aren't going to answer, right? They forgot about you. They no-showed you. Their kid had a soccer game. They're not going to be there. 50% no-show rate, right? And then you talk to 5. And of the 5, you do 5 full presentations, but of course you're still brand new. 3 say no, 2 say yes. That's about $2,000 on average. Is that okay with you? Can you endure that? Yeah, I could do that. Are you sure? Because I've hired someone, they quit after 2 weeks, and let's not waste each other's time. And then, I just put that all out there. And then I basically listen to how they respond to questions. And then after going through that, Grady, this has changed a lot for me, is sometimes in the middle of the call or towards the end, I'll say, perfect. So after knowing all that, Grady, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being I want my insurance license right now, and 1 being this is not for me, where are you at? And I only send them the coursework or the information on the coursework if they're at a 5. If they're at a 3, 3.5, I'll say, cool. Well, what could get you to a 5? What is your hesitation? And then I'll let them, elaborate, and then I'll touch on that. And then, but I do not move on until they're at a 5. And that's typically in a nutshell, my interview process.
Awesome. That's great. So, because why? Because anyone that's less than a 5, you can't push a rope. It's already hard enough to get people to do things, let alone if they're not fully vested and into it. Well, I'm going on a trip. Oh, I've got a lot of overtime coming up. Or my wife's about to have a baby. Yeah, okay, I understand. That sounds like a lot going on. It seems like, it would be the most important thing to put you in a position where you can make some extra money, especially if your wife's going to be taking some time off. And sometimes you've got to life coach these people, which isn't what we want. I mean, I always used to say, our job isn't to motivate people, it's to find motivated people. And so sometimes people need to have, their lives shaken up, and that can become our job. But at the same standpoint, if they lack motivation to life, this business is going to run them over. And it's not our job to save everybody. It's our job to give everybody an opportunity. And that's a cool place to be, to have an opportunity, but it's their choice to decide to reach out their hand and say, I'm ready, and to go forth with it.